Hi everyone, Mature Simmer here. So I am back after being gone for a week. I was actually back yesterday and had to really press on pretty aggressively. Ended up being extremely late. I think I worked until 2 or 2:30 a.m. to try to get the grass off the field. So at this point, this morning, I am just going to be trying to sell some of the silage here in these silos to get it moving before I need to do anything else. I am not specifically tracking exactly what I did, but what I did discover, the grass definitely looked different when I joined yesterday after several days, really 5-6 days before I had been in the system. And so a few things have happened. So these silos were already full. So there was about 70 or 80,000 in each one of these. And you can see they have 310,000. So I have like 600,000, but if I take away 140 or so, I've got like 460,000, which is more than I would get. And then, this is a silo here, one of the large ones, and one of the ones here. Now I say this is a silo. If you recall, there was the one silo that had been placed a bit close, and I was concerned about it. Well, when I came back in, the server had smoothed out the ground near the train tracks, and I could kind of get to the trigger, but then really couldn't. And so I ended up selling that and moving it, which again was a bit of a hit on the cash side. So this silo is basically starting from scratch, and I did lose whatever silage was in it. I just did not have time to move things. So I had about 170,000, so about $34,000 worth of silage that vaporized with that move, because these were both about the same amount of fullness. But so you could take 10,000 here, so you could say 320 and then 400. So instead of getting like 531,000, I got like 720,000 off the field there. So it is a bit interesting in what that creates as far as, is there some other way to harvest less but get more? And I don't think so. I would think on the surface it would seem to me that you would be simply getting a few larger harvests if you let it go another day or two, but you'd then be losing a harvest. And so I just don't know, because at the end, that's on the bigger field, it is pretty big. It's like 30 or 40%, but I don't know that it's that large on this field. It's 100,000 or so, so I guess it's 30%. But that would mean if I wait another day or two, I would lose a harvest, and basically then over 3 harvests, I'd be back at the full 100% coming in there. All right, so here we are. It's 184 per thousand here at this location, compared to 180 right now at the biogas plant. And you can see 2970, 425. So that brings me to the bonus. You can see across all my fields, I've got a very good score, which gives me a 14% bonus. Now that change of silo obviously caused me to have to take on more of a loan. I'm nearly maxed out at this point. So like if an opportunity came up for a piece of equipment, there's nothing I could really do. So part of what I'm trying to do, aside from just getting these silos producing again, because otherwise, even as it sits, my challenge is I'm going to get 240,000 or so through each of these silos through winter here in the next 3 days. But then I've got as you saw, 300,000. So I really need I need 4 or a little bit over 4 days to get everything done. But, I was able to sell the silo back for half price, so I was able to get 50,000 back, but that meant I lost 50,000 on the silo. It cost me an extra amount there, and then obviously lost the crop inside. So it's a pretty significant hit, and you can see now far away, that's where the silo is. That is shifted over closer to the edge of the fields, because I definitely took the time to go ahead and position it appropriately so it's closer to the field. Basically the one pad is touching, so there's no grass between the silo and the field, so that way it eliminates the issue of the border and any redrawing. It also has flatter ground, because if you recall, I didn't realize the train track was still sloping down from that hill that's over there on the left. That had created a divot to kind of drive into and so forth. So that's all pretty nice and flat over there. So I've got a little bit of a later start this morning. The server time is quite a ways off. So technically at this point I have enough removed, just with 16,000 in each one, that going and running errands for a couple hours like I need to do this morning, I'd be clear. But the challenge is, if staff comes in and gets the server up to time, I won't be in a good spot, because to sync the server up at this point means a sync of 6 to 7 hours, and I think in that time it would process well more than 16,000. So I'm going to run a few more loads, but my plan for the day would likely be to go ahead and maybe try to empty out what I can, because I don't think it's going to get significantly more profitable to sell. The chart that's there shows it might go up to 188, so just another $4 a thousand, which again is not nothing, but it's not enough to sit and wait around for tomorrow, let's say, and then not have it happen. And so if I have time, so likely what will happen is I'll kind of work until I decide I just can't, and really get to the point that I can't keep moving things without just kind of growing irritated and so forth. There are a few contracts left, but I'm not entirely sure I want to worry about that. It kind of was the nature of this year that I was assuming I would miss the harvest season, and for the most part, I mean, I did. Yesterday there were a lot of contracts. Nothing incredible, but kind of the standard of what we had seen. And there were 2 folks on when I joined. They were each working their own fields. I think those contracts sat and then expired. So my goal is going to be to basically, obviously now, just start making cash and generating that and continuing to pay down my loan, with the hope that some of the equipment that I'd like to roll over comes up in the used space. And I know I'm in the position now, I mean, even if I had a full $500,000 loan, and again, I'm very close to that. I think I'm at 480 or 485. Field 36 itself was over 600,000, so just selling the land, I'm not in any danger of ending up in the negative, but I just need to be careful that I don't lose the likely lead that I had by just being sloppy with things, as I frankly was with the silo. Again, now the challenge is Farming Simulator doesn't really give you any frame of reference of where something's going to place and what kind of edging it has around it and so forth. The challenge then becomes on placement, because really placing that other silo, I had the frame of reference of where the other one was. So I could see the pads that were there and position accordingly. But when I had originally placed that silo, I didn't have that, and obviously estimated incorrectly by a little bit. So there was a penalty for that mistake of a good amount of cash that I'm now going to have to make up. So I'm not going to harp on what could have been, because certainly even after I got rid of it, because sometimes when you sell a silo with something in it, the game gives you credit as well. Oh, I see he put up a second processing site as well. So they're trying to kind of keep up with output. The nearly 60,000 that's in that new silo and processed, I didn't really start working this field till, about 11 o'clock last night or something. I was finishing up my other 3. And so that's about 8 hours of processing, if even that. It probably actually is less than that. No, I probably did go to that silo to start. It might be close to that, but still you can obviously see the faster output of that silo compared to these. So the plan for today is to just keep pounding out what I can to now just start attacking that loan as aggressively as possible. My next known lengthy period of time when I am traveling and unable to play is about 2 months from now, and at that point we'll be off of this map, so everything will be different, the impact will be different, and so forth. I think it extremely unlikely I'm going to take any contracts. The ones that are out there are not that large. They're about $5,000 a piece by the time I'm done with them, and they would probably each take at least between an hour or 2 to do, so I'd be looking at 3 to 6 hours of work. To make a good amount of money, I probably could make 20,000 between them all. But determining when I do that, if I do it next year during harvest or now, I think doesn't ultimately matter in the end. It's not as if we're making money on the money we have, other than decreasing our interest a little bit. At this point, I've gone ahead and pulled 3 loads out of each silo, so basically about 48,000, a little bit more, just under 50,000 each. That should be enough, even if they come in and forward the server time. So I'm going to go ahead and take a break at this point, then come back when I can and continue, as I said. So price is slowly rising as well, so I'll have the benefit, even if they don't forward it, of perhaps seeing a little higher pricing. So I'm going to go ahead and do what I need to do so that I don't create stress on both ends, that what I need to do in life isn't happening as I'd like it to, and then it just creates a domino effect of kind of a little bit of a messed up day, because obviously being gone for a week has already been disruptive enough. So wanted to let you know where I'm at, but at this point you can see I'm already over 20,000. I'm going to pay as much as I can each day so that I'm not running things down. So even if I sell all the silage that's processed today, I've got 800,000 or more, because basically, again, I've got 600,000 sitting in the small silos between the 2 of them, actually probably closer to 650, and then I've got like 500 or so left to process in the large silos. So I've got 1 million on top of what I can move, so there's a lot there. Not enough to pay everything off. It's gonna do a really good dent into it. That's all I've got for now, and I will see you next time.